Brother, mother, God bless you. What's going on down there? Florida, Sunshine State. God bless you. Great man of God, my brother Kevin. What's going on, man? Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everybody. God bless you. It's a great day. It's a great day. We made it. It's Thursday. Most of the schools, the first day of school. Woohoo. And so, man, we're excited about that. All our kids are in school today, most of them, and they are starting and embarking on another year. So we're excited about that. We're excited about that. And it's just a good day, man. It's just a good day. Welcome to my Thursday live broadcast here with Rodney B Speaks, a.k.a. Rodney Bennett. Many of you know me by my my mother and father's given name, the name they gave me when I came into this earth. But listen, good afternoon, man. Come on in. It's exciting. We got a great topic I feel led to be talking about today. So you want to come on in, and we're going to get right into today's topic. Man, it is exciting. It is exciting. Hey, sister, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you, sister. VO Philadelphia in the house. God bless you. God bless you. Good to see you, Sister Olige. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So listen, let's come on in. We got a great topic we want to talk about today. And listen, there are so many people. There is so much going on. So many people around us that are hurting, man, that are going through things. And, many people don't have answers. Many people don't know what to do. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to do this. They're consulting this one. You will be surprised what some people now in this time we live in are doing, what lengths they're going to try to get answers. So, I thank God that us who believe in God and us who walk with God, we have some answers. And in fact, how dare we not share those answers with those who are broken, those who are hurting, distraught, in despair, going through all types of psychological and mental stress and anxiety and worry. And so, listen, if you're out there today, you might be welcome over there on Facebook, both of my platforms over on Facebook, also Instagram Live. We see you this afternoon in the house. God bless you. Also, those over on YouTube Live. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, and God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. So, I want to talk about just for a moment before I get into the topic that I have set for today. I want to talk just briefly, just a real short synopsis on my life. And many people know me, and many people know me or have known me at different stages of my life. And some know me from this stage of my life. Some know me from years ago, and some know me from even the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I'm always, my platform, what I talk about and what I'm an expert in is overcoming adversity and rebuilding hope. That is what it's all about. That is my message. It's about hope, man. No matter, and I'm going to tell you right now, no matter how bad it looks, there is hope. It doesn't have to end. It's not over. You are alive. You can win. You are alive. You can win. And so listen, real quick, I just want to share some real, because many people may know me and they see me doing things and they hear me saying certain things, and they may wonder, well, he sounds very confident and he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And so does he? And so, but real quick, just briefly, just a few points of my story that will just help lend some understanding and maybe some credibility to where I am, and why I'm doing what I'm doing. I am a professional speaker. I'm also a minister. I'm also a coach, and I'm also a international best-selling author. But real quick, I was addicted to drugs and alcohol for 15 years. Hardcore. I was addicted to drugs and alcohol. Spent much of my life in many of some of the local or this geographic location in some of the inner cities. Camden, New Jersey, New York City, Newark, New Jersey, Atlantic City, Philadelphia, Camden, South Camden, a lot of different places I spent in my life over this time of being addicted to drugs and alcohol for 15 years, probably a little over 15 years. Of course, today I'm excited because I'm celebrating being free for almost 25 years. So I've been free from all of those traps, and many of you saw a video I posted not too long ago that said I escaped 9 different strongholds, and so that is factual, at least 9. But I have been free. I didn't say anything about clean and sober. Yeah, clean and sober, that's good. That's a start. But I have been set free. I have been set free from addiction to drugs and alcohol for 25 years. I've been counseling alcohol and drug abusers and their families for over 20 years. I was a senior overseer at a residential drug program for almost 2 years. And then I was a program director for a ministry that I founded and started called The Cure, which was an outreach and discipleship program. I was the program director for that for over 11 years, for about 11 years. And over the years, I've had a lot of great resources that have helped, propel my life to where it is today. First and foremost, my mother. My mother was a praying woman, man. I mean, she prayed and she lived it. She was full of the Holy Ghost, and she had a small army of men and women by the name of the Interdenominational Crusade Choir, and they were so much more than a choir. And so they encouraged me, stood with me, prayed for me, led me and guided me, of course, along with my father. But I've always had my mother there. Also, I've always had a mentor. I have a mentor in my life. I know it's probably close to 30 years now that we've been together. And so his name is Wayne Holmes. I've had an army of friends, counselors, and loved ones that have helped me reach this place in my life. So that being said, we're going to jump out into the subject we want to talk about today. How to love a loved one with a stronghold. How to love a loved one with a stronghold. It's interesting because over the last week, between the last week or two, I've had at least 4 cases or 4 different situations that have crossed my path, have been brought to me of people struggling with how to handle and how to deal with a loved one with a stronghold. And it is a difficult thing, man, because, just by nature of what we're talking about, a stronghold and a loved one. A stronghold, and those that don't know, you may not follow the Bible. It's many people refer to it as an addiction, a habit, something they can't stop doing, and many other things that are said to descriptively to give it an adjective of what this is. But the Bible calls it a stronghold. The Bible calls it a stronghold. Whether you call it an addiction, whether you call it a bad habit or something you can't stop doing, the Bible refers to it as a stronghold. I love that word. And the word in the original is fortress. So it literally means a fort or a fortress or a well-protected place. I like to call it a military base. It's literally a stronghold is literally a military base, as we would refer to it today. So, but how do you love, man? How do you, what do you do? I often think, how would I have parented me? How would I have, what kind of father would I have been with a son like me in those years when I was going through addiction and alcoholism and in and out of jail and fights and streets and gone for days and weeks at a time. How would I have fathered me? Because there was no manual. There was no, our parents did the best they could, and they did a tremendous, an awesome job because we're here. And not only we're here, we're walking with God. But I often think about, man, how would I have dealt with me as a son? Because it hurts, man. When you got a loved one, and many people have done their best to try and raise their children in the right environments, around the right people, and giving them. I mean, I grew up in probably maybe a lower middle class family, business family. My family ran a business my entire life. It's from the time I was born, I remember the family business that we had, and lasted for 54 years. And my dad and my mother both were Christians in the church. I honestly cannot remember my mother and father having an argument with voices raised or anything like that. Of course, I've never ever seen my father raise a hand to my mother or anything like that. I saw him raise a hand to me, and as deservedly so. But listen, I come from a great family, man. Two loving sisters, Donna and Kim. They've always been in my life, always been supportive and encouraging, as they even are to this day. But how do you deal with? I remember asking my mom, years after the Lord had set me free, and I remember one particular time when I was in Philadelphia, and I was there for months. It had to be about 2.5 months. I was there, at least 2 months. No contact with any family. No one's heard from me. No one knows where I'm at. There was a pastor. His name was Reverend Sharp. And when I came back, he gave me a pretty accurate description of where I was and the people that were around me, without knowing where I was. But for the most part, my family didn't know where I was. And I remember asking my mom, what went through your mind in those times when you didn't know where I was and you wouldn't hear from me for months? And she said, well, now here's my mom, a woman of great faith. She said, well, I would just turn on the TV each night to see if your body turned up dead. And I thought at that point in my life, I said, wow, that's heavy, man. What a deep thing for a mother. What a deep thing for a mother, not knowing where her child is, knowing he's involved in some dangerous, violent, self-destructive things, and wondering if today would be the day. Can you imagine turning on the news and wondering, I wonder if today is the day where my son's body finds it. So, man, having a loved one with a stronghold is a tough situation. It's painful. It's complex. It is, it's shameful. It's embarrassing. It's frustrating. It's irritating. It is such a, I remember my mother telling me about how my mother and my father were both enrolled in a Bible school together, Manna Bible Institute, and they were both, they were getting ready to graduate, and they were in a class getting ready to take the test. And my mom said this was a time where I was missing in action. And my mom turned around and she looked at my dad during the test, and he was like zoned out. He was out of it. And, he was just distraught because of me, his only son. So, suffice to say that they didn't finish the test. And I'm not sure whether they graduated that Bible school. But listen, it is difficult, man. It is difficult. Make no doubt about it. But I want to say, here's one thing that you don't want to do. And I'm going to get into a few points. This is going to be a 2-part talk. I'm going to talk this week. And then I think next week I'm going to come back. I'm going to have an excerpt from my book, Overcoming Adversity and Rebuilding Hope, which I'm going to use an excerpt for that speaks to this talk. So this is going to be a 2-part talk. This is part 1. Next week will be part 2. But what you don't want to do, and sometimes the temptation is strong, what you don't want to do is give up on them. I'm not saying you can't get some space from them. God knows sometimes you have to. You have to get some space, whether it's mentally, spiritually, physically, geographically. You have to, because it's just too much at times. But don't give up. Don't give up on them, especially if you're a believer, if you're a Christian. Man, you do not You do not want to release your faith. You do not want to terminate your faith and your words and your confession. You do not want to terminate that because the circumstance look bad. So first of all, one thing you do or you don't do is never give up. So, but anyway, I'm going to talk to, there's two sides of this equation. There is the loved one and there's the one with the stronghold. Now I'm going to refer to the loved one as the facilitator. I'm going to refer to the loved one as the facilitator. I'm just going to give a few points today because I don't have the really time to go into it. I'm only on here for a half hour, so I got maybe about 10 minutes. I'm going to refer to the person who is trying to reach the loved one as the facilitator and the facilitator. And I'm going to refer to the person who has the stronghold, who is in the grips of the stronghold. I'm going to refer to them as the initiator. I want to refer to them as the facilitator. So as the initiator. So the facilitator is just what it says. You're literally helping facilitate this person's journey and pathway to freedom. That's what you're doing. You're helping them. You're helping push them, help putting things together. You're encouraging them. You're praying for them. You're calling out their name before the Lord. You may make a phone call or two to help them, to get them some counseling or some help, or what. You're helping facilitate. Now, make no doubts about it. What you don't want to be, what we cannot be, is we can facilitate, but we can't enable them. You don't want to get into a point of codependency. You don't want to get into a point of what they need to continue to do what they're doing. You're supplying it, whether that's financially, whether that's whether that's a home, whether that's whatever the case is. But facilitator. So that's you. So here are a few things that I want to talk about for you, the facilitator. Things you must know in order to be ready. In order to be ready. And this may be, man, this may be a child, this may be a nephew, this may be a spouse. This may be a spouse. That's why, you have to take your time. If you are coming in contact with any person that has any, you're considering having a relationship with a person that has been involved with any kind of substance abuse or alcohol abuse or gambling problems, or it could be overeating, it could be any kind of addictive behavior. You want to take your time. You need to see this person in many different situations and environments. Because you need to see how they respond. But first of all, let me say this to you, the facilitator. You are amazing. You are amazing. The fact that you have the compassion, you have the spirituality, you have the humility, just to connect, stay connected. Many people, they find out a person has, a child or loved one or nephew or uncle or someone like that, has gotten caught up in some type of addiction or some type of alcoholism or some type of life controlling, substance abuse controlling issue. They write that, man, they listen, they're done. They're out of the picture. But you're staying in it. You may be on this broadcast and you say, you know what? Yes, I have a loved one that is dealing with a stronghold. You are amazing. Because you're willing to pray for them. You're willing to not give up on them. You're willing to encourage them. Listen, you will be surprised how much just an encouraging word, how far as an encouraging word goes. Because that person, there's nothing in them that can encourage themselves at that point when they're wrestling with the stronghold. Trust me. There's nothing in them that's going to be able to propel themselves and find a hope. A thing that's going to do that for them, it's got to come from the outside in. It's got to come from somebody speaking it to him, someone praying it, someone helping them, someone coming in contact with them. But you're willing to do that, and you're amazing. You are amazing. So another point is that, listen, God loves and wants you to be whole too. Facilitator, you that have the loved one, You that have a friend or a spouse or a brother, sister, a uncle, you that are connected to them, and you have taken on this thing in your soul to help assist them to to on their journey to freedom. Listen, God loves you and wants you whole too. And let me speak very specifically to spouses, to mates, because here's what goes on a lot of time. A lot of time, a person who is involved in a relationship or married to a person who and the other person has the addiction or has the habit. Um, a lot of the influence, or I should say, a lot of the attention, a lot of the attention is placed on them, even from the loved one themselves. But family and friends and people from the church and people from the community, they are always concerned and always trying to figure out how they can help the one in the stronghold, which is good. But I want to say to you, the facilitator, God loves you too, and he wants you to be whole. I say that because sometimes the tendency is to just completely throw yourself into the task of trying to help this person to the detriment of your own life, to the detriment of your own emotions, to the detriment of your own peace and your own sanity and your own financial state and your own home and your own children and your own job. It's not good, nor is it God, that you are so into helping this person who is struggling with a stronghold that your own health is deteriorating. You're not even taking care of your own self because you're so enraptured, you're so into taking care of this person. So I want to remind you that God cares about you too. And God wants you to be healthy and whole. Listen, he loves you no less because you aren't the one with the stronghold. You aren't the one with the bondage. You aren't the one in and out of jail. You aren't the one that's always broken, trying to borrow money, and God always got a story and a scam and a scheme. He loves you. Take care of yourself. Learn how to unplug and disconnect from the stronghold of that loved one. So, and one more thing I'll talk about for the facilitator, and then I want to give you a few points from the initiator side. And this is a big one. You can't, if you have a loved one that is dealing with a stronghold, get this. You can't force their decision or make them ready. But your role is the most influential. I'm going to say that again. If you have a loved one who has a stronghold or has an addictive nature, you can't force their decision or make them ready. You can't force their decision to change. You can't make them ready to change. But your role, your closeness, your connection to them gives you influence over them. It gives you influence. So you can't make them do it, but you can kind of light the fire a little sometimes every once in a while underneath of them. You can tell them, that you can encourage them, tell them, there's a life you're not even living the life you're supposed to. God has great things for you. You are living beneath where you should be. You can encourage them. You can speak over them, say good things about them, pray for them. And you can influence them. Again, I spent some time in rehabs. Manly Mike, God bless you. God bless you. Over on Instagram, Cliff Ritchie. Good afternoon. Listen, I can't tell you, as I was on staff at two different Christian residential programs, I can't tell you the times where people came into the program because of the influence of a loved one. They made the decision to begin the journey. Now, sometimes that didn't hold up. Sometimes just because there was outside influence, whether that was from a spouse, whether that was from a wife or a husband, or whether that was for a mother, a father, or even a child, even the children. Sometimes that wasn't enough. Sometimes there had to be, that may start them, but at some point they got to make the decision internally to say, you know what, yeah, this is what I want to do. So again, this last point here, for facilitators or for those who have the loved one that is dealing with the stronghold, remember, you can't force their decision to change, and you can't make them ready. But your role is the most influential in their life. I don't care if it's your husband or your wife, or if it's your son or your daughter. There's nobody on the planet Earth that is able to influence them and encourage them and nudge them towards changing their life like you. So remember that. You can't make them do it, but you can influence them by your presence and by your patience. So I said that the one who has the loved one, the one that is trying to help the one who has a stronghold, I refer to them as a facilitator. And the person who has the stronghold, I'm referring to that person as the initiator, the loved one. They're the one with the stronghold. This is the person with the stronghold. And I'm going to just give you maybe two things that they must do in order to be ready. I had a situation in my life recently where a person was struggling with an issue, and they told a family member, well, I'm not going to do this. I'll do this, but I'm not going to do that. So don't even talk to me about doing that, because I'm not doing that. Here is a very important point for the initiator. And I'm going to be talking to somebody right now who's dealing with a stronghold in the name of Jesus. And God is speaking clearly to you. And God is speaking clearly to you. But I also may be dealing with some people that are that have loved ones who have this stronghold. And this is an attitude you need to see in their mind to know, okay, they're ready. They have to accept the loss of ability and trust to completely self-govern. That's good. That's a good statement. They have to accept that because of their life and because of their decisions, they've lost the ability and trust to be able to completely self-govern. Now, I say completely self-govern, meaning they're going to have to make some decisions on their own. But they can't be trusted to have the ability and to have the trust from people that they've just did the most craziest thing, made the most unwise decision, and they come back around, or come back home, or they come back in the vicinity, and then all of a sudden they come on the scene saying, well, this is how I'm going. How can you come back on the scene and say how you've been gone for 4 weeks? You come back and say, well, all I got to do is this. No. You've lost the ability and the trust to govern yourself, to make wise decisions. That means you now have to open your life and open your heart. Family members, listen. If a loved one is insisting that they don't need any help, they want to keep getting high. It might as well say it. If they're insisting that they quote unquote got this, or they got this under control, or three days have gone by and they're doing better. No, what they want to do is try to get back on track. Sometimes they don't even know it. But the reality is, if you're not willing to open your life and invite somebody in to help you make decisions, that means you still think you're well enough and good enough to keep driving the car that you just hit three telephone poles with. You're still trying to convince yourself and those around you that you're a great driver, and you just about ran off a cliff with your life. So there has to be acceptance of the loss of ability and trust. Listen, you have to be real. It's hard, man. I know it is. It is hard. How you going to tell a child? How you going to tell a spouse? How you going to tell a best friend that now I don't trust you? I'm not saying I hate you. I'm not saying that I will never trust you, but right now, I don't trust you because of your decision making, because of the last decision you just made, and probably the one before that and the one before that. You have forfeited trust. Easy to lose. May take a lifetime to earn. Listen, you may never earn it. Not completely. You may never earn the trust of those you betrayed or walked away from because of an addiction. So that's an important thing to know. And here's the last one I think I'll touch on. Yeah, we're done. The last thing I'll touch on in this, these are the attitudes in the initiator that they need to have in themselves, and that those loved ones who are trying to facilitate their freedom and help them, they need to see these attitudes in them as well. And you're going to learn some things. And if you have a loved one, and tell them I said it, if you have a loved one and you have to use some of these techniques, and they wondering, where did you get that mess from? Tell them I sent you. Tell them I said it. And tell them they can find me here on Facebook, email me, whatever they need to do, because they ain't going to like it. I'm telling you right now, there is a part of the mindset in a person who has a stronghold that is just deception, deception, deception. It's nothing personal. It's not that they hate you or they don't respect you or they wish you weren't around or anything like that. It's just that at this point, the habit is God. The habit is Lord. The habit tells me what to do, when to do it, how to say, how to act, what to wear, where to go, and all that. It's dictating to me. So no disrespect intended, but I'm going to follow the voice of the stronghold. So, but one thing about a person who, because see, deception is the whole life. It's the whole party. It's the whole kit. It is deceiving. It is deception. It is, how can I lie? How can I manipulate? And I know this is hard stuff. And some people, even though you know your loved one has a stronghold, it's not easy to hear this stuff. Take it from me. Take it from me. I know it's hard. We're going to do it together. Last point. For the initiator, the person that the kind of things that this is what they must be ready to do, the initiator. And this is what we must see in them when they come and say, for real this time. These are the attitudes we need to see in them. One more. Outside counsel, coach, or mentor with firsthand experience, spirituality, and proven victory. They must be open to outside counsel, coach, or mentor with firsthand experience, been in the trenches and come out, spirituality, and proven victory. You cannot, and it's not even easy. It's difficult even for loved ones to interact and try to guide because it's painful. Because they're biased. This is their chart. You have a connection. You have an emotional bond and tie to this person. It's not easy. When they say, I'm not going to a rehab. I don't need a rehab. And they say, I can do it without it. It's hard. to disagree with them because you love them. And you're hoping, you're wishing that they don't have to go into a rehab for a year or 2 years or 5. But I'm telling you, they need a person, loved one. I'm speaking to you today. Your loved one needs outside, impartial, not a family member, not somebody from down the street. They need outside counsel, coach, or mentor that has firsthand experience in the trenches with drug or alcohol addiction. And they also need to have spirituality. And they also need to have proven, documented victory. Victory. But you're going to need an outside voice to speak into this situation. You're going to need help. Loved one, facilitator, person who has the loved one with a stronghold, you're going to need outside guidance because you're too close to it. You're emotionally tired. You feel the pain they feel. You feel the discouragement and disappointment that they feel. So the person dealing with the stronghold will have to be open to outside counsel, coach, or mentor with firsthand experience, spirituality, and proven victory. So that's all I have enough time for today. Again, this was a 2-part series. This is part 1 today, and part 2 will be next Thursday at 4:00. We'll get into the final part of this: how to love a loved one with a stronghold, man. And most of us have somebody down the line, a neighbor, a friend, a spouse, a nephew, a son, a daughter. Most of us have someone that we are struggling with. How do I love them when they're dealing with that stronghold? So listen, man, this is good stuff. I hope this is helping somebody, and I am excited about it, man. I'm excited about equipping people and preparing people and giving people hope. There's answers here. There are answers here. There are solutions here for that loved one that is dealing and struggling with the stronghold. So listen, that is all I got for today. I want to thank everybody for stopping by. Thank everybody. Appreciate you over on Instagram. We see you over there, and also on Facebook on our platforms and YouTube Live. Listen, we thank you. We appreciate you coming in, being here with me today. Listen, tune in, man. I think I'm going to try to be able to put some documents up on the screen so we can go through them together. And again, next week, I'm going to do an excerpt from my book, Overcoming Adversity, Rebuilding Hope, that touches on this subject. It touches on this subject of a loved one trying to love. How do you love a loved one with a stronghold? So listen, have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.